Federal government reduces electronic fees to boost economy. SEC targets new strategies to resolve unclaimed dividend menace. 1,000 Nigerians take over expatriate jobs in oil industry. Brexit, US-China trade war, threats to Nigeria's economy, says World Bank. Detail of this and more on this edition of Business Express on the network service of the NTA, reaching you from Abuja, the nation's capital. And I am Benny Adams, saying compliments of the season. In a bid to resolve the issue of unclaimed dividends in the capital markets, the Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) has outlined a number of initiatives. Acting Director General of the SEC, Mary Uduk, disclosed that the Commission in the new year will explore various strategies to ensure and address unclaimed dividends. She noted that the major problem is how to deal with identity management and that the capital market and other stakeholders are working to resolve. Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Dr. Isa Ali Pantami, has welcomed the reduction of the cost of electronic cash transactions as well as automated teller machine card maintenance fees by the Central Bank of Nigeria, saying the development would contribute to the actualization of a digital economy, lower service charges. The minister said will encourage a higher patronage of electronic services, especially in the banking and financial services sector, and urged all decision-making institutions in the country to enact policies that would give support and key into the digital economy policy. Meanwhile, the federal government says Nigeria is taking steps to fully embrace open data initiative in order to compete and attract global recognition in the world of information communication technology, ICT. Minister of Communication and Digital Economy, Isa Ali Pantami, who stated this, noted that for Nigeria to play a key role in the ongoing data revolution, there is a need to embrace open data initiative and improve data literacy of its citizenry, especially now that data is the single most important element of innovation in the 21st century. The minister further added that this involves the putting on the internet non-sensitive government information such as agricultural prices, vehicle registration, and data online. After this break, a serial startup entrepreneur will join us to look into the performance of this critical sector in the course of the year and what should be the aspirations for 2020.
federal government rolls out program towards reviving textile industries.
Central Bank of Nigeria unveils new policy to capture the unbanked.
Consumer Price Index continues moderating trend in March of 2019.
From the streets to the corporate and digital worlds, we bring you views and opinions that shape the world of business, finance and economy. In-depth analysis of policies and markets, all these on Business Express, showing on the network service of the NTA every Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 3 p.m. Business Express, keeping you up to date on all sides.
Tim Mayaki, a serial startup entrepreneur, joins us to look into the performance of this critical sector in the course of the year and aspirations for 2020. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Good to have you.
Thank you.
How did you handle, as an entrepreneur, how did you handle your first 6 months known as the make or break period?
Interesting question. Interesting in the sense that I actually did everything that I shouldn't have done as a startup, and I actually didn't do everything that I should have done as a startup. By this I mean as a startup, I had tried several things, several businesses, several ideas, of which had failed. I started and failed severally because of the fact that I did what I shouldn't have done as a startup. So I can say I have experience of trying so many entrepreneurship enterprises, and then I failed. But then in my failure, I decided to go into social entrepreneurship. And by social entrepreneurship, I mean I teach entrepreneurship as it is for profit-making entrepreneurs, since social entrepreneurship is a non-profit entrepreneurship sector. So now, having done that, I decided to share my experiences in failing.
Okay, still talking about your experiences.
Yes.
During that learning process,
Yeah.
you went through the do's and don'ts. Were you actually going through by some books, or you decided to learn on the job, more like learning on the job?
Yes, I actually had, I was actually educated in entrepreneurship. I attended a business school. In fact, I went to the university to actually do an advanced diploma in entrepreneurship studies. Now, that is the lessons or knowledge I got within the box. Now, that wasn't enough for me because I was thinking I was doing the right thing because of what I had learned, while I was doing the opposite. All right. Now, I learned so many of this. Whatever it is I had learned so far, it's actually on the job, because I failed, and my failure had taught me so much, enough for me to be able to teach and to tell others that are startups what they should do and what they shouldn't do.
Okay, from your experience, where is the place of apprenticeship? I know within this our environment, one gets as an apprentice. You learn with your master, you learn the ropes, you learn the do's and don'ts. But most of the times these days, we hardly see that aspect. Does it impact negatively or positively on entrepreneurship?
Yes, entrepreneurship and apprenticeship has a very, very wonderful relationship. Wonderful relationship in the sense that apprenticeship, if you would ask me, it's mostly part of what the Igbos do. Igbos in Nigeria do. You know, where a master will bring in a boy, kind of, and a mentee, and teach them in the rigors of doing business. Now, it gives you the mentee, or rather, it gives the mentee a lot of knowledge on the business, because there is no any other knowledge or experience that is better than experience. No matter how much education you have, experience is far better and gives you the strength, the grease for you to succeed. So apprenticeship is very important in entrepreneurship, and without it, apprenticeship, there is limit to which you can go as an entrepreneur.
Okay, talking about your own experience, after those first 6 months, what are those things you dropped and what are those things you continued with that is helping you where you are today at the point you are?
I actually did so much trying to create products and put out there for my customers, or for customers that perceived that were mine. And eventually, they actually weren't even mine in the first place. So my experience taught me so much that What I need to do is to actually use my experience as a serial entrepreneur who has failed severally, and to be able to now teach or give back to those who are startups. And by this, as a social entrepreneur, I am able to put down the strategies I used that I didn't work, and the strategies that I used that are working for me now. Because I'm agripreneur right now. Okay. I'm into farming, and that is a little bit more easier for me to handle, because it doesn't require so much of product development and marketing and branding. You just have products out there, and there are a lot of off-takers there to pick your products. So basically, it helps me to be able to transfer knowledge easily.
Yes, you are in the agri sector, more like it's not that much challenging. Where, from your experience, people getting into business, some do it for interest, some do it, it's not about the interest. What would you advise? Should you go for what is moving the market? Should you go for your interest? What's the point?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, Benny. A lot of times I've met people, because I actually teach entrepreneurship on radio. It's a fun program where people oftentimes call to say they have this wonderful idea and they want to go into it. Some call to say, okay, they've heard about this idea that is wonderful, and people are making money out of it. Now, a lot of times people go into startups. People get into startups based on what they hear or what they perceive is working, and not necessarily because they are inspired to go into this. Now, it goes beyond just having a passion. All right, it goes beyond what is working. What is working does not necessarily mean it's going to work for you or any other person, but what is your passion? What is the drive? What is pushing you into it? Now, even your passion and that drive may not be able to sustain you. There is more to it. You need to work hard, you need to be persistent, you need to be confident, you need to fail and go back again.
Go back again.
Yes.
So it's very okay to fail and go back again.
Extremely very okay.
Okay, aside failure, talking about profitability, what is that moves the Nigerian market that you get to do and do well for investors to want to invest? No investor wants to invest and fail. So more like an advice, what's moving in the market and what should a young entrepreneur go into?
There is persistence. You know, I have consistently of this opinion that once you start an enterprise, it doesn't matter how often you fail. You keep persisting and keep diversifying and keep thinking out of the box and trying to come up with different ideas. Be creative, be innovative. Now, you might see startups that are there for the past 2-3 years are still out there. You might think they're actually succeeding, but their books are actually reading negative. They are losing monies year in, year out. All right. Now, investors are actually not interested in the wow idea. They are not actually interested in the grandiose idea. They are interested in an idea that is working, that is bankable, that has a future, and the person or the team behind the idea are actually resolute. What are your strategies for growth? What are your strategies for exit plans? What do you have? What are your goals? What are your strategies for succeeding in whatever it is that you're doing? Now, these are the things that most investors are looking at. Now, then further down, they look at your sales, your revenue, your drive, your financial analysis, and all of that are very, very key. But most importantly, the idea, is it sustainable? Does it have a future? Is it something that you're working on? Do you have a team? Do you have a strategy that can sustain this idea and a way out?
Still on your experience,
yes.
At what point did you break into the Nigerian market, and was it hard?
Like I said, I actually tried so many ideas and never worked. So because I am more passionate about sharing or selling information, so I would say like I'm infopreneur. As an infopreneur, I am more interested in not the profit now as a social entrepreneur, but sharing what I have learned and what I'm learning or what I've studied with young entrepreneurs. So now, at this point, I have been able to break into the market because I have a story to tell. And that story has been inspiring others to come on board and become entrepreneurs or start up, as it were. Now, at this point, I would say I came into the market, in the Nigerian market, at a point when I discovered that all I have tried all along has not worked, and this is what I have, and it is my passion. So when I discovered my passion, which is to share information and share my knowledge and experiences, that was when I actually broke into the market, and it's wonderful right now.
Where is the place of technology in achieving all of this?
You cannot underemphasize the place of technology in today's business environment, because everything seems to be on the internet. Oftentimes in the morning you see young people, old and whatever the age it is, busy on the social media, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Millions of Nigerians are always engrossed in the buses in the morning. People are going to work. When they go to work, they are always engrossed in social media. So that is the market. Now, as an entrepreneur, one of your cardinal goals should be to make sales. Sales and sales and sales. The better your revenue, your income, the better your chances of succeeding. Because at the end of the day, your sales should show. Your sales should be the drive that makes your business to grow. So once you're able to get the market, because it's the marketing that brings the sales, and getting the market, since the market is in the social media, why don't you put your products and put your service on the social media? And that's technology. And bringing financial technologies, fintech into it. People have easy access to financing right now on the net, where people just go on using their phones and applications, and they can just get funds, borrow funds for their startups or for expansion or for scaling.
I was about to come into financing.
Okay.
For startups, a lot of stuff you get online to get to borrow from those institutions are meager amounts of money. Are they good enough for such startups? And if you want to grow such startups, where would you say the facilities that we have from commercial banks, agri banks, is it enough for the startups?
Yes, I have this philosophy of dreaming big but starting small. Now, oftentimes startups tend to want to start with a grandiose idea, very large. They want to start big, and I had always advised that you don't go big. And for financing big ideas, you need to get more funds or more financial sources, now more funding sources. But if you're going to start small, then it means you can actually use equity. And that is monies you can raise within yourself, your savings, your personal properties, family and friends can actually help a startup. And oftentimes most people with beautiful ideas don't get to start because they are looking to start big. So when you're looking to start big, instead of that, you should start small. So you can actually start with equity. Then you go on to maybe microfinance banks. They are very good. They have very friendly rates. But when you go to most commercial banks, their rates are
their loans 1 digit?
No, they are not as low as 1 digit. But they are friendly. Friendly in the sense that they are within communities. Yes, and then they have a way of staggering your repayments.
Yeah, okay.
Now, you don't get that from commercial banks.
That's to say they are startup friendly.
They are startup friendly to an extent, though.
Okay.
Now, in the absence of other options, why not? We should go for them. And the commercial banks are not friendly either. Yes.
Thank you very much. On that note, we appreciate you being business experts. It's been Tim Mayaki, a serial startup entrepreneur. Business owners and other stakeholders in the export processes have been encouraged to embrace digital marketing as a solution to the problem of low productivity and slow growth to enable the country realize its ambition to attain Zero Oil Economic Plan. Chief Executive Officer of Nigeria Export Promotion Council, NEPC, Olusegun Awolowo, while identifying old and crude market penetration strategies as hindrances to the realization of Nigeria's Zero Oil Economic Plan initiative, said there is the need for Nigerian businesses concerns to acquire appropriate skills that would make them to be visible globally, and digital marketing is one that can upstage physical marketplace. NEPC boss said NEPC will ensure that Nigeria exporters penetrate international market sustainably. Gold prices edged lower on Friday on rising risk appetite, buoyed by optimism over an interim U.S.-China trade deal. But bullions was still set to register its best week in more than 4 months. The Nigerian Content Development and Monitoring Board (NCDMB) says at least 1,000 Nigerians have now taken over the jobs previously executed by expatriates in the oil and gas industry. The Executive Secretary of NCDMB, Simbi Wabote, said the move has assisted in reducing the huge payments to foreigners and employed highly skilled Nigerians in the sector. Mr. Wabote also dismissed insinuations that the board is out to nationalize businesses owed by foreigners. Oil prices rose on Friday, hitting 3-month highs after data shows record online spending by U.S. consumers, stoking faith in the world's #1 economy even before the hope for end to the trade war between Washington and Beijing. Brent crude futures were up 13 cents at $68.05 a barrel, while the West Texas Intermediate contract was up 13 cents at $61.81 a barrel. A survey on Thursday showed that online holiday purchases by U.S. consumers reached a record, beating analyst expectations and sending U.S. stocks to fresh. The Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission has commended the Central Bank of Nigeria over its resolve to stop the payment of 50 naira stamp duty to merchants by consumers, while imploring consumers to report violations of the law when they occur with evidence of such violations. The Commission assured that it will collaborate with CBN, relevant regulators, and law enforcement authorities to enforce the law. The World Bank says assets of Nigerian commercial banks may deteriorate if the Central Bank of Nigeria continues to support undercapitalized banks. The World Bank said this in its latest Nigerian economic update, where it expressed reservations about the manner in which the CBN extended liquidity support to 4 undercapitalized banks. The World Bank's report also noted that asset quality needs to be closely monitored because it may deteriorate if the CBN continues to exercise regulatory forbearance for undercapitalized banks. The last trading day for the week 27th December 2019 surged higher by 1.25% to close at 26,416.4 basis points, with market capitalization at 12.7 trillion naira. The volume of stocks traded were 172 million, worth 2 billion naira in 2,540 deals. The most active stocks were Access Bank, Guarantee, and UBA. Stanbic led the gainers, while Guinness the decliners. Stocks in Asia mostly rose on Friday afternoon trade as shares on Wall Street jumped to new record highs overnight stateside. Bosiri Abel reports.
Global stocks traded mixed the last trading day of the week, 27th December 2019. Stocks in Asia were mixed after shares on Wall Street jumped to new record highs overnight. Shanghai Composite fell fractionally lower to about 3,005.04. Nikkei closed 0.36% lower at 23,837.72, while the Hang Seng Index gained 1.3% as of its final hour of trading. U.S. index futures had a high start to the trading day as optimism continues to drive year-end rally. Nasdaq Composite rose 0.78%, S&P 500 0.51%, and the Dow Jones Industrial Average also topped 0.37%. European stocks hit record highs on Friday following the rally in stocks statesides. FTSE 100 was up 0.27% and the French CAC 40 was up 0.27%. Africa's stocks were mostly positive, but for Ghana's GSA Composite, which was marginal.
That's a wrap on this edition of Business Express. Don't forget you can access all previous episodes on YouTube, and you can also communicate with us on Twitter, and the handle is at NTA News Now. The hashtag is BizX. We value your feedback. Do join us again on Monday for another package. I am Benny Adams saying do have a fulfilling weekend.